in typical Marco fashion, I'm impulsive, and I decided to make a video that I said I was going to make a long time ago about frontal lobe signs, which I never did because I have undiagnosed ADD, the inattentive type probably. But anyway, I'm cutting my hair. This is so stupid. I'm cutting my hair, and I just want to make this video while I'm doing it. So, member of the Tourette's community. God, that's an annoying sound. Member of the Tourette's community recently got into trouble for oversharing online. And I'm pausing a lot because I want to make sure I don't expose their identity. But they were called out for oversharing online, and it got me thinking about some elements of my own personality as well as some behavior that I've seen with other people with Tourette's that point to like frontal lobe dysfunction. The frontal lobe and the prefrontal lobe, you know, it's behind our forehead, and it controls motivation, impulsivity, decision making. I mean, a whole bunch of things. I mean, I'm not a doctor. You guys could look up frontal lobe signs if you want, but it's relevant in that I think that Tourette syndrome it could affect the frontal lobe. And if it doesn't affect the frontal lobe, it might affect the amygdala. I don't know. I think in my case, my amygdala is overactive, and that presents with social anxiety. If you look at the brains of people with social anxiety, you'll see an overactive amygdala, which is the fear emotional center of our brain. And you'll see an underactive prefrontal cortex, or prefrontal cortex. Social Anxiety Kyle, a wonderful account that I follow, mentioned that, and it just got me thinking. So tying it back to Tourette syndrome, how it can manifest is that it can manifest, like I said, as impulsivity. So like impulse purchases, or oversharing online, or not being able to say no to something, or like saying yes too quickly to things, right? It could also manifest as like promiscuity, or over-sexuality, like multiple sexual conquests. Fast as like hypersexuality. Tourette syndrome is not a disorder of the frontal lobe, but I think that anytime you have a neurodevelopmental disorder like Tourette syndrome, or a neuropsychiatric disorder, I don't know if they're the same, but I wonder if it affects just brain development overall. And of course, not everybody with Tourette syndrome is the same. It's a spectrum. We all have varying degrees of, for lack of a better term, brain dysfunction of the basal ganglia, and is implicated in Tourette syndrome. So with that said, let's talk about me. I'm so impulsive that I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, which is a diagnosis that I disagree with. It was bipolar NOS, which was not otherwise specified, which I feel like supports the fact that I don't have bipolar disorder, because I feel like NOS is a soft diagnosis. It's kind of like you might be bipolar, you have some signs of bipolar, but you don't really have enough to meet the criteria for 2 or 1. I would be more associated with 2 in terms of my behavior. I have depression and what looks like hypomania, although it's not hypomania, it's Tourette syndrome. It's the impulsivity and the energy associated with Tourette syndrome. Like we all know, many people with Tourette syndrome, they're energetic. I don't know if it's a personality. I don't know if it's a byproduct of the tics. I have no clue. I just think it's very interesting. So yeah, be careful with, I guess, what you share online. I'm pretty careful. I try to be careful of what I share online. I always wonder if I'm oversharing. That's another sign of frontal lobe dysfunction, for lack of a better term. So yeah, I'm always wondering if I'm oversharing. I want to bring value to you guys in terms of just content. Like I don't want to be hermetic. I don't want to be like a hermit in terms of not disclosing how Tourette syndrome affects me. But at the same time, also, everyone has a right to privacy. I mean, I'm not gonna tell you guys every detail about my life, mainly because I don't want to bore you. My life is not that interesting at this point, which I'm fine with. But the point is, just be careful about your behavior online. I would even say that if you think that you're impulsive, wait a minute or two before you make a choice Don't make choices in extreme moods. That's just good business. Like, don't make promises like when you're in a good mood. Don't, like, just be careful about your mood. I didn't mention moodiness. Moodiness is another symptom of, I think, frontal lobe dysfunction. You could have irritability. You could have just mood lability, which is moodiness. It's the same thing. So I can't cover every symptom because I don't know every symptom, but I'm just, free associating off the top of my head. I'm not reading it. These videos are not scripted, by the way. Maybe they should be. Let me know. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video of frontal lobe dysfunction. I'm gonna go finish giving myself a haircut. I just look, the reason that I did this in the middle of a haircut is literally I started doing something that I've been putting off already, and then it made me start thinking about all the other stuff that I have on my plate that I haven't done. So, like, just know that, okay?